Ares is finally in theaters this weekend, and as someone who absolutely loves Tron Legacy, man, I was not that excited for Tron Ares. I wanted to be. I had some optimism with some ideas and some actors, especially that Nine Inch Nails score. And the things that I was excited about truly came out to be the best part about the movie. The things I was very hesitant towards are some of the worst things in this movie. And sadly, I walked away from this movie going, eh? What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new non-spoiler review for Tron Ares. This is about a highly sophisticated program, Ares, who is sent from the digital world into the real world on a dangerous mission to capture a new sort of program that could change the face of the future forever. This is directed by Joachim Rønning, who I think is a little bit of an underrated director. I have a lot of fun with some of his movies. Some of his movies I also am not a fan of, but I don't think that's ever his fault. I think it usually comes down to the script. I think his visuals are always such a delight to capture on the screen. And it stars the likes of Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Evan Peters. I mean, the cast is stacked in this one. And as I said off the top, wasn't too excited for this movie. Had some optimism, but I mean, I just wanted a sequel to Tron Legacy. Let's be honest there. Now, I'm probably part of the problem. I didn't see Tron Legacy in theaters. I really wish I would have, because every time I've gone back to see that movie, and I was very late to the game. I probably didn't watch that movie till 2019, and I was like blown away. I love that movie. Just rewatched it again and loved it as well. And the original Tron, I think is harkened as a classic. It's weird. It's very much does not hold up, but there's some aspects about that I think are so special and so just classic feeling. And I think Tron Legacy really takes that aspect and takes it further into the future. Not dumbing down anything, still kind of weird, confusing, bumbling with its ideas, but as messy as Legacy can get, it's visually amazing. But story-wise, you really care for that father-son story that's there between Flynn and his son. You also have Kara, who I think is also fantastic in there as well. And I think all the characters that they build out in Tron Legacy were phenomenal. I really wish it would have continued. And then I really liked the animated series. And then Tron Ares was announced. And first off, I was disappointed in three things when it was announced. One, that they said it was coming to our world. I guess that's the next step in the Tron world, and I can see on some levels why that would be the way, but it just didn't excite me too much. Second, Jared Leto is not one of my favorite actors. I just never really care for him. I think he's a solid actor, but okay. And then third, you're not bringing back anything from Legacy, anything that it continued really. Even you couldn't even get Cillian Murphy in here, really. You just continue his family lineage. I think that would have been one of the most obvious ones to get, but whatever. The trailer comes out for this, and it looks cool. And walking out of the movie, I can say the movie looks cool. But that's it's visual noise for a lot of it. And I genuinely have thoughts on this movie. Some that I can't get into spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything. I think that is up to you to decide. But we definitely got some thoughts today. So make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below your guys' thoughts. And without further ado, let's dive into this. So starting with my pros, because I like to be positive. The best thing about this is the Nine Inch Nails score. There is no doubt about that. I think Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have just been phenomenal in terms of what they've been creating for film. But they really brought out that Nine Inch Nails name again for this, and for a great reason. I was listening to the album even before the film had come out, and it was amazing. And watching the film and seeing how certain songs play out in certain sequences is even more incredible. This, in a way, if you just graded it on a music video, it's the greatest music video ever made. Hyperbole, of course, but it genuinely is. It visually just looks stunning. The action is incredible. And we'll talk a little bit more about the action in a second. But the score from Nine Inch Nails is amazing. It should absolutely be nominated for an Oscar. It will not be, but it should. It absolutely should. It blew my mind. I listened to it even on the way back, and it made the film. It was, in a way, it was the saving grace of the movie. I'll just be honest with that. That for me was the saving grace of this film. And second, Greta Lee. Greta Lee is phenomenal here. Now, obviously, that's no sight. Every performance she's given has just been top tier, especially from past lives. I loved her in there. And I was really happy at Comic-Con this year where they really kind of showed that, like, no, like, Jared Leto, yes, he is the main character, Ares. But Greta Lee is, for the most part, like, I wouldn't even say the secondary character. Like, she's the co-lead. And I really think the film should double down on that just a tad bit more. There's a little bit of emotion there, some interesting aspects there that I wish they would have touched in on. I think there's certain aspects of the story that she should have been a part of. And I'm actually very interested to see that, like, she wasn't a part of that. Because for me, like, the most interesting aspect about Tron is the confusing nature and the very sophisticated, cheesy aspects to things. But I think Legacy continued that in such a perfect way that I was really hoping Ares would, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in my issues, but it's so dumbed down in this movie that it disappoints me because there's so many things that feel surface level. But Greta Lee's performance is not. Thank God. I also will give a shout out. I thought Evan Peters was really fun in here. Is he a great character? No, but I think his performance is really fun. And the last thing I'll really give a pro to in here is the visual effects and the action. Both of those, bar none, are great. And I think Joachim Rønning, as I mentioned before, I really think visually he knows how to touch down on films, even if they have very terrible scripts. Like that Maleficent 2 sequel we got. I hated that movie. But I think visually it was a really great looking movie, and some of the action in there was stunning. And just in Tron Ares, it's the same thing. Tron Ares is a better movie. I will absolutely agree to that. But the action in here is vibrant. It really does bring and kind of channel that same energy from Tron Legacy. And I think there will even be debates that this did have better action sequences. I'll even say that like some of the things that they use in terms of the real world and bringing those practical effects to life look fantastic. Like I was very much against the Earth stuff, and while it's still very surface level, I actually like the ideas there, and I think there are some really cool ideas that I wish again executed a little bit better. But I think for the real world stuff, it actually intrigued me a little bit more than I was actually anticipating. Like count me wrong. I'll take that. I think it has some cool messages and ideas about AI and certain things that revolve around our world. And again, all of those things are entertaining on the surface. And I'm not saying that I go to my Tron movie wanting to be like deeply moved or like deeply hypothetical, but Tron Ares asks a lot of its fans and its audiences. And it expands the lore in a very interesting way that I think could piss off some fans and could intrigue others. I'm not the diehard Tron fan, so I can't say it pissed me off nor say that it disappointed me. It intrigued me with some of its ideas, but this is where we come down to the biggest reason I think Tron Ares fails as a movie. It fails as a movie because it is absolutely visual noise. You do not care about anything this film is asking you to care about. Not one thing at all. Like, there's a big story revolving around the character of Ares. It's predictable. You know where it's going to go. You can already play out the notes and the music of how this is playing out. And I shit you not, they very much want you to care about a lot of things here. I did not care at all. I did not care one bit for anything to do with Jared Leto. And I don't think this is to do with him as performer. I don't think this is to do anything about that. I think it is complete script issues, or maybe even editing if they had left some stuff out. They do not dive in and touch on these characters whatsoever, besides the very surface level approach. Even Greta Lee, who is an amazing actress, I think she does a great job in here. But I'll say that her character is very surface level. Evan Peters, very surface level. The list goes on and on and on. You mention a character in here, they are surface level. If you mention a concept in here, it is surface level. If you mention a sequence that is amazing, which there's this entire incredible sequence that takes place in like the 80s. It's been some of the marketing. I won't get too much into it. Incredible sequence. Not enough depth. And that depth is really what I needed there. And while they have lines that are meaningful, it always felt like some heart and soul was lacking from that moment. Whether it may have been Greta Lee should have been in that sequence personally, But even though she's not, it genuinely just felt, because it's supposed to be the most impactful moment of the entire film. It really feels like it's supposed to be, but it's not, because it wasn't built up to that, in my opinion. I didn't feel for anything by that moment, and it was more of a, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's okay. I know where this is going. Okay, cool. Now we're going into the finale, and boom. Of course, the movie sets up a sequel. And that's actually where I started to get more frustrated with the movie, because the sequel that this film promises is the film that I would have rather had. Most of this film, story-wise, is just one long chase. And some people will be very entertained by that. I absolutely know they will. And I will not go as far to say it. Like, I won't say that I was not entertained by this movie, because I was. But I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck about anything happening. I was just, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's shiny. That's cool. That's cool. There are movies that are like that. But my lasting impression of this movie is, it's a music video, basically. That's how it kind of made me feel. And I really cannot emphasize enough how disappointed I was to feel walking out of this movie at those experiences. I know I'm rambling, I know I'm ranting at that, but the setup, the ideas, all of these things, as I'm driving home thinking about all these things, I'm like, okay, if you would have expanded a little bit more there, if you would have taken out this scene and expanded more there and spent more time with the characters there, motivations would have made more sense. Depth would have made more sense. It's just so bare bones that, again, I think you can enjoy it. But for me, and what Tron Legacy promised, and even what the original Tron, as cheesy as that movie could be, as cheesy as it can be, it definitely felt that there was more depth. And honestly, the idea of Tron and the grid and all that, they dumbed down so much in here to make it so easy. A lot of actors are wasted. Why is Cameron Monaghan in here? I'm probably mispronouncing it, but why is he in here? Couldn't tell you. He's in one scene too, by the way. So if you love him and you're coming to this for that, yeah, I don't know why. That's where it makes me go as far to think that there were more moments with him that were cut out. Again, it's literally an hour and 59-minute movie, and it feels like they got it right under at a mandatory hour and 59, as we see some studios. So maybe the director's vision was absolutely hindered in here. Maybe they didn't like the story. I have no idea. All I know is that I walked out of Tron Ares not disappointed, but more just going, yeah, that's about what I expected. That's the feeling that I expected to get from this movie, and I got that exact feeling. I wanted to be surprised, but I wasn't at all. It really needed more time with its characters. And honestly, a lot of this could have just been cut out to go into the film that we actually all wanted, which is what the film sets up by the very end. And it's frustrating to me that I will never probably get that. Disappointment aside, Tron Ares is a pure visual noise. It's film that borrows tropes from every great AI sci-fi movie. I really do mean that, by the way, because there's a whole point in here where Jodie Turner-Smith very much feels like the Terminator, and I got Terminator vibes intensely. She's awesome in here, by the way. But the film never digs deeper than the surface. It's stylish, it has awesome action, it has cool ideas, but emotionally empty. I thank God for the Nine Inch Nails score, though, which truly is the saving grace alongside Greta Lee. I think people will have some fun with this movie. I think some people will actually be entertained by this movie very heavily. But the more and more I sit with this movie, the more and more disappointed I am with it. The more and more frustrated I become by it, and specifically its certain ideas and its frames and everything of that nature, and especially with the way that the film ends. I don't mind when films set up another film knowing that there is potential there, but if this was the return for Tron, this isn't what I wanted. It's just not the feeling that I got. I don't even want to say this movie's a mixed bag for me personally, but as someone who again really likes that Tron Legacy movie, I just wanted something that maybe connected just a little bit more, maybe had some surface level, and even if you didn't connect to Tron Legacy at all, but you actually gave me depth for its ideas, I probably would have cared about Tron Ares more. So with all that said, I'm going to give Tron Ares a 2.5 out of 5 Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, comment down below your guys' thoughts, and of course, until next time, stay classy.